Sehr gut.
Super. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this new episode of Magnetic Talk here, Magnetic Marketing and Mindset Group. I'm super happy we have a new live guest today, which is Claudia. I will introduce her to you shortly. These talks, if you have been here for the last couple of times, they're meant to inspire you, to give you information, expert information, entertainment, and I just hope you get a lot of value out of it. And I'm super happy that the community is connecting with each other, and there's so many amazing women entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs who tell us their story. And yeah, I think it's the 5th or 6th round, I'm not sure myself, but today I'm welcoming Claudia, a very special guest, and we're going to dive into personal branding and social media marketing. And in the announcement you've seen, Claudia is a photographer, a social media strategist, content creator, and she will tell us a lot of good things that we all should look after when in this social media world. Welcome, Claudia. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you for having me, and hello everyone.
So Claudia, let's dive in. My first question to everyone is always the same. Please tell us a little bit about your background and your personal story, and also what's interesting, your own journey into entrepreneurship.
Okay. Where to start? Well, I have to say that photography is my profession that came out of a passion, and not the first job that I ever had. I started out after studying economics. I started working as a headhunter in Vienna with a big consulting firm. And I loved that job, to be a consultant. I warned you, it's going to go crazy now. I'm going to open you for a second.
You going to open the door, or you answer it? You want to answer? You go ahead. It's live.
I started as a consultant, and what I really loved about my job was meeting so many interesting new people with different professions, and to guide them into getting the jobs of their dream. Helping them prepare for their interviews, how to dress, what questions to prepare for, how to create their resume, to create actually their brand. And when I had my daughter, that was 15 years ago, my husband is American. We decided we would move to America because he's American, and it was easier for him to find a career that was really tailored for him. And I took that opportunity, and I stepped away from recruiting because I would have had to go back to university to study all the labor law, because you cannot ask all the same questions in America in an interview than you do here.
No, you can't.
I know. And so I took the opportunity, and I've always been very passionate about photography. I've always been taking pictures, and I started taking more classes, but not in a traditional way where you go to a school and you learn how to measure everything, but it was very hands-on. You get a mentor, and you're immediately being set up with challenges, try this. And so my biggest goal was to find my style, so you can one day recognize, oh, this picture is taken by Claudia and not by someone else. Mm-hmm. And these classes are still going. It's like a forever process, So I have in America, it's called a mastermind class. I have one where we learn more about posing and, new trends in photography, a lot about sales, of course, too, because as entrepreneurs, we're taught how to sell ourselves. And the other one is about what's going on social media, because it's a constant changing thing. The algorithm changes, the platform changes, a new one is coming, the other one is going. Today it's Facebook, tomorrow's Instagram, now it's Clubhouse, Twitter, whatever. So, and in this mastermind class, we are taught constantly what's new and how to create consistent content and stand out.
Wow, amazing. So how long have you been living in the US, and when did you get back to Austria?
We returned to Austria 5 years ago, and before that I was in the US for 10 years.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
But you're back. You like it to be
I
back
like it.
home.
I like both worlds, you know, because Vienna is just, I mean, it's like the greatest city in the world, and it's there are so many opportunities and there are so many great people, but more than that, there are so many amazing backdrops. Like I could do a different
Okay.
photo shoot in a different setup every day. In America, we lived like in a small city called Raleigh, North Carolina at the end, and when we did our photo shoots, we ran out of backdrops really fast. You know, there was like an old brewery and an old barn, and but really, and all the photographers tried to secure those spots. So
Yeah, so it
this
got
is
crowded.
amazing here. Yeah, this is really great.
Okay, yeah, I'm super amazed about all your shooting locations, like hotels and cafes, and you have a lot of great spots you're using. What I have seen so far, and I'm sure there's a big portfolio you're using and always discovering new locations. So you are a photographer, you're a social media expert, you create content. These are all, it's a perfect combo, let's say, for your clients, right? So you can guide them through this jungle of what you really need for visual branding, for creating a personal brand. Let's start with the visual branding first. I mean, for me, and I think for many of our listeners, for everybody, it's always a kind of a struggle how to get pictures, where to get pictures, good headshots. What selfies should I take also? Or
Well, you're
what
doing a
pictures do
great
I need?
job, though.
Do I need? Oh, thanks. What pictures do I need for my social media life and everything?
Yes.
And so we are always picture hunting, and at the same time, we want to, of course, we want to look good, but we want to look authentic and all the must-dos. So, what are the must-haves you would tell us, or you do consider as what's really needed, or where do we get started?
Okay. So this is a little bit of a tricky question because it's different for everyone. Uh, I gotta say so that my main focus, I work mostly with entrepreneurs. So I'm a branding photographer, but I would also work, of course, with professionals. Like the last 2 days, I took a picture of people that are actually in a job, but they just wanna show the best version of themselves and have great pictures. But as an entrepreneur, when you own a business, you first have to realize that the most important part is what are you actually willing to show? And I realize in Austria, like for example, there's a realtor I work with, she does not like showing herself too much, but she wants to show the real estate she has, or, you know, there's so many things around real estate that you can show, but she doesn't want to be in the spotlight so much. Personally, I believe if you have a small business and you're having that small business most likely because you're really passionate about something, and you will be very successful because you are the main ingredients of that success, because it's that passion that you bring to the table. And so I actually believe you have to show yourself. I don't believe you have to show your true self. You know what I mean? Like you create a brand, like you want to be perceived.
Mm-hmm.
And you show that. You don't have to show yourself how you eat your breakfast. You know, like sometimes it's misunderstood and people show themselves in funny situations, but you can decide how much you're going to show and how much is actually going to align with your brand, because very often no one is going to care what you have for breakfast anyway, because you need to understand what content is are my followers actually interested in. And it's a very important part of your branding and how you create your social media strategy, that you first define who you're actually talking to. And when you know that, then you can create a branding portfolio that matches this situation, this demand.
So I guess these are all the questions you are posing to your clients before you even go to set up a shooting location or anything, because right, it's about what they really need and what they want and what they want to look like and who they want to attract. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And, you know, very often, this is actually where we start. We start first with who do I want to talk to on social media, or what do I want the pictures for, you know, because some people don't want any social media. They just wanted to have a really nice portfolio on their homepage. Then this is one setup. The second situation would be that someone wants to also create a really nice social media following and want to decide, you have to decide who you're talking to, and then you can create the portfolio of your pictures. So it's actually, you have to go back a little bit and then decide, and then you create your portfolio. So we start where you headed, who is your customer, who's your dream customer, and from there we can take it from there.
So it's probably also hard to tell. So if I ask you now, how many pictures do I need for a start, how many headshots, it's probably hard to answer, because it depends on, like you said, is it just a website, or is it a whole social media stream I want to build on?
Exactly. Well, if you contact me, most likely you want a branding portfolio and not just one headshot that you can, I don't want to say you can get it at Hatlaw, but theoretically you could, you know, but of course no one does that. But usually people really want to create a branding portfolio because they want to not show the exact same picture on their homepage that they show on LinkedIn, or that they show on social media on the platforms they decide to actually work with, you know, because this is a really big advice of mine. Whatever you platform you decide that you are going to post stuff on, you really have to be consistent. You have to build trust with consistency, and you have to speak to your real client, and you shall not show up once and then you forget about it for a few months, and then you're like, oh, you know, I haven't been here for a while, here's a nice picture again. So this is not how it works. So you really create a portfolio, and then a plan how you're going to post and how you're going to serve your followers, actually, because I like the idea of serving them, you know, giving them something instead of being salesy. That's in my opinion not what you should do on social media, is sell, unless you have an online shop, and of course then you can say, okay, and here is my new spring collection, and here's my online shop. But you should not in your posts be salesy.
Right, because it's called social media, not sales media, right?
Exactly.
So perfect. You already touched the next point. Platforms. I mean, you said it in the beginning. Facebook is like a dinosaur. It's huge. Instagram is huge. There's Twitter, although in Austria it's less Twitter, but Twitter it's still important for certain professions, right?
Yeah.
Then you have, of course, LinkedIn, super important, professional network. Then you have the Clubhouse hype, like everybody's trying to be on Clubhouse and trying to figure out what to do with it. But it's probably not wise to try to be everywhere, right? So how do you start advising your clients on this topic in terms of platforms?
Well, I think if you know your dream customer, you define also an age group and a target group, and then you know where your customer most likely will hang out. I do always recommend, unless you really sell to a generation that is like 18 years and
I forgot TikTok, right?
Then we have we would have TikTok, and then you don't necessarily have to do your dance, but you better have a good idea what you're doing on TikTok. But otherwise, I always recommend Facebook because you can utilize the groups, and the groups are very educational. They're a big network. We all know our great Wunderweiber group in Vienna, or all over Austria, actually. So the groups are just so powerful, you know. Again, not to sell yourself, but to be present. And if someone if someone recommends you, you should have a nice, maintained, pretty presence that, is streamlined with your brand. Mm-hmm. Instagram is something that will give you much more feedback, because you get followers from all over the world. Sometimes you're like, why are they following me? It's like funny how when you look at your Instagram followers, where they're from and what they do, and you're like, interesting. Like,
what's happening to you?
Oh, everyone.
Followers from all over the place?
Yeah, because on Instagram, so people use the hashtags, and the hashtag is a search engine, basically. So depending on what you put in, you know, if I put in branding, for example, hashtag, everyone around the world who is interested in branding and is gonna go and look with the hashtag branding, and so they're gonna find you, and if they like what you do or whatever, they will follow you. They will probably never be your customer because they're not anywhere close, but you know. Exactly. And LinkedIn, it's also, again, LinkedIn is not a salesy platform at all. So it is really a very professional networking event, basically, where you can meet people that you can learn from, have collaborations with, or give something to them. But it has to be you have to be very respectful to the platform and be very considerate about what are you posting on LinkedIn. You know, it should not be, oh, I had a coffee this morning at cafe blah 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 and it was delicious, you know, which I can do on Instagram, and I put the coffee hashtag, I tag the coffee shop, I tag the city, so that's perfect. But on Instagram, on LinkedIn, everyone is going to be like, what is she doing?
What is she doing? Or why is she doing it?
Why is she doing this? We don't want that.
Is she bored?
No.
Right. Speaking of content, so great pictures and branding shoots are fabulous, of course. But you also work on content creation, right? So like this constant scrolling everybody's doing, what would you say are important factors, important things to really stop the scrolling and that people notice you and your posts?
Well, to stop the scrolling goes back to also knowing who you're talking to, you know. So what you also do as I've learned in my group that you should see social media as a friend, you know. It's like you are talking to a friend, and no one likes the friend that just says like, that's where I went, this is what I did, you know, all those things. But the friend, you want to talk to her, you ask her questions, you know. So instead of posting like, this is what I did yesterday, you ask a question and say, hey guys, do you also like this and this? This is what I did yesterday and I experienced this and that. And that's how people will stop scrolling, if they see an interesting question or an interesting caption. And then of course, if they see a picture that stands out a little bit, you know, and that there's many ways to stand out in pictures, but asking questions or teaching something, giving something, like I love how I can learn from you about oils, you know, and the power, and I'm like, okay, I need to energize myself, I want to know what Maria has to offer, but you've never once sold me on anything, so this is just perfect. You educate, you give, you give, you give. And I think social media is the place where you give and where you inform and where you communicate, because you can also ask people like, help me, I'm not sure, should I do this or that, what would you do, what would you like best, you know. So I think this is how you can, but again, you cannot talk to everyone. There are billions of people. So you have to decide your audience.
Yeah, and find your sweet spot.
Yes, right? And talk to them, you know. Don't worry about all the others. Don't worry about, I don't know, if you're not an influencer and you need a certain amount of followers because you want to be invited to everything, stay true to who you are and what you do, and get followers that actually will turn into customers or clients, or, you know, that really can connect with you.
Right, because I just heard this term recently in the course I took, like everything else is just vanity. They're like vanity numbers, like the amount of followers or fans, or I mean, if there's no interaction, if it's not your community, if it's not your tribe, it's just a number out there and it doesn't take you anywhere, right?
And then also, then it happens that people can be hurtful, you know, and for us, if we're not used to this, if we put ourselves out there and you get all of a sudden really mean, you know, comments, this can be very bad for our self-esteem, and we're taking everything back. So if you talk to your clientele or to your dream customer, it's very likely that they respond positively or they give you nice feedback, but also, you know, don't try to destroy your reputation or something.
Right, right.
Because
So
that's a problem on social media.
yeah, it is definitely. It is definitely, especially I think it's for the young guys, young
Yeah.
people, but also for everybody, for each of us. It's like nobody's immune, right? Against.
No, I mean, we experience it in our Facebook groups every day, right? Someone asks something and wow, that you can get answers you didn't want to hear, you know?
No, you didn't expect them. So Claudia, if I'm about to, let's say there's somebody who wants to, wants to start,
Okay.
starting a business, starting a small business, becoming an entrepreneur, or just creating like a kind of personal brand, and wants to, takes all the courage there is and gets online and says, okay, I have to be on social media, I want to build something. What are really the first step you would recommend in terms of platforms, the photographs and the content that is to like a startup bundle? What would be the things you would put into this starting basket for somebody who says, okay, how do I get started?
Okay. So you always probably start with a homepage, because this is like it's like your virtual handshake. You know, if someone recommends you, if someone says, oh, I need a psychologist, or I need a chiropractor, or I need anything, you know, someone say, oh, call so and so, the first thing we do is we Google them, right? And what we find will decide if they will actually contact us or not. Because when they find a professional homepage, when they find a professional social media, and it doesn't mean you have thousands of posts or followers, but it has to, you have to look like a professional when someone Googles you, you know? So this is the first thing you have to decide, is the homepage. And from there, since you're already creating a portfolio and pictures for your website, then you can start your social media presence. The first thing about social media that I always recommend is decide some categories, you know, because it's so overwhelming, like, oh my God, what should I post? And oh my gosh, no one answered anything, or no one said anything. So we usually have different categories that we talk about, you know, like it could be, for example, one day you show a picture of yourself and you say something about yourself, or, you know, your accomplishments, or some advice you give. Then you could have, as one category, could be a quote. The next category could be something educational. You know, I can learn something like, did you know that lemon oil can also do this and this and this, you know? So find categories that work around your product and your service. And so that will help you create a plan and say, okay, one day I take category A, the next post I take category B, and then have like maybe 7 categories or 6, and then start over again with the first one. This will help you create a structure and feel safe within what you're doing, and don't overthink it so much, you know. My go-to platforms are obviously Facebook and LinkedIn. And I work with entrepreneurs. I take over for some people that don't have the time or don't want to do it. I take over their social media, and we usually post on Facebook, on Instagram. These are the 2 that I will do for someone. And then they can, depending on their profession, go on LinkedIn. And Facebook, usually you get a lot less, you know, traction these days. You know, like sometimes you have like 1,000 followers and you post something, you think, man, this is a great post. And it says it was seen by like 60 people. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what is happening, you know? And so, you know, Instagram can be much more satisfying, but still keep Facebook up, because the algorithm might change again. People might start talking back to you, and things might get better, but it keeps you in, you know, it's kind of a really nice business card where you always show your latest work, and where people can see you, what you do, have all your information if they want to get in touch with you. And don't get sad about if you don't have a lot of likes or comments on it. And use the groups, always use the groups, network, you know, put yourself out there, network. Instagram, we said, and LinkedIn really depends on your profession. It's not for everyone. I wouldn't stress myself too much. If you I'm not a professional. Like if you, for example, if you're an esthetician and your main goal is to have really happy clients for anti-aging treatments in your studio, don't worry so much about LinkedIn, even so your client is on LinkedIn, you know. But you know, don't stress yourself so much. But that what you commit to, try to really put time into it and do consistently. That's always my word, consistently, because consistency will bring you where you want to go.
Yeah, yeah. Consistency is a great word. It's also my word for this year because I can be very inconsistent in many things because I'm doing a lot of things. So consistency is so important.
I hear you.
What would you say somebody needs to put in time and consistency before reviewing or before losing? You should never lose faith because social media is something you do in the long-term thing. But what would you say, stay consistent on a regular basis? What would be the amount of time to invest when starting off?
Again, it depends on what your service or product is. If you have a product and you have lots of it, do it every day because it's easy, right? I don't know, like for example, those earrings, I take a picture, I post them, I put them in the online shop, I can immediately, they're available. For other things, I would say 3 times a week is a good start. To build up an audience. You can do less, but if you do less, you know, here's the thing, you know, if you do less, the algorithm will not show your content to other people. It's our friend, the algorithm, you know, the algorithm will not show your content if you don't consistently post.
Right. It's our friend or enemy. We should make it
exactly, but we want to always see someone as a challenge or a friend, not as an enemy. And at the beginning, I always tell people also, find a group of people and tell them, hey, I just posted something. Can you please write a comment, or can you like it, or can you share it? Or, you know, because for example, on Instagram, if you comment with something that has more than 4 words, give everyone a courtesy of 4 words. Don't use the emojis only.
Right.
Then the algorithm will start jumping into gear, you know. Right. So when we support,
guys, we just need to have a break. This was a really important tip of Claudia. When you're on Instagram, use 4 letters, 4 words or more, not just a heart emoji. I mean,
exactly, use 4 words. And what I also think, take the time and give others the engagement that you wish for, you know. So you should every day leave nice comments to someone's post that you really like, or the group of friends that we all agreed on, like you leave a comment, because at the beginning, this is very important, you know, and we like supporting each other. And so there's nothing wrong about saying, please say something, or please like it, or please share it.
Yeah, yeah.
But really take the time. You know, there are some people that say you should 20 comments a day, or every time you post something, you should give 20 different comments to other people, because they will talk back to you and they will look at your profile. So, you know, you can really, there's a whole strategy behind it, how you do it. Don't DM your sales thing, but leave nice words. It will come back to you.
Right, right. That's
but
so
be
true.
Sincere, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and do it on a constant basis, not just once a month, or just when you feel like. If you're really into building something online and your brand, you need to be consistent, even on a day, right, when you don't feel like being it.
Absolutely. And you can use planning apps if you don't want to do it consistently every day by yourself. There's, you know, the jury is out if the planning apps are really good or not, but at least you can say, okay, I'm going on a vacation for 2 weeks. I don't want to take my phone. I don't want to worry about anything. So I take all those apps, have like a free, for like one account, you can get a free account. And then you can say, okay, I want Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I want this post out. This is what I'm going to write about. And then you have trust that you're laying somewhere in your yard, because you can't go anywhere. You can make sure that your post will be posted.
Right.
Because this is what people underestimate. Social media, well done, will take a lot of time. A lot of time and preparation, and you have to really have a strategy, put a lot of thought into it, and execute. And if you don't hire a branding photographer because you're not there yet, still try to always think to tell your story in pictures, you know. This is so much more interesting than writing long captions. When people see something and understand what you're doing or what you're all about.
Yeah. But still, I think it's if you're serious about building something online, it's a really good first investment into branding photography to get some really
Absolutely.
nice. You don't need a huge portfolio. You can always add to it, right? And maybe do a shooting once a year or every 2 years. But at least you need some first professional pictures.
Exactly.
That's what I really believe in, and it's just so much more professional, especially when you go on LinkedIn, or even if you set up a nice Facebook page or a nice Facebook profile, you need great pictures as a start. You said something very important, Claudia, like having a group of friends and supporting each other and like the close community. I think this is something we cannot stress enough, because I have this a lot in my, like with my clients and my community, that people say, well, my service is not for my friends, I'm selling to somebody else. Yes, but these guys are here to support us, you know, and I am also happy to support each other. That's how you get the first traction and some first momentum going. And you never know, like the friend of a friend. And this is about networking and community, right?
Absolutely.
So it's something what everybody should do from the beginning. And if these are your friends and your community, they're happy to do it. That's so important.
But you have to ask, they will, because if they are not into social media, or if they are not very educated about social media, they most likely will not know. You have to be very specific. You say, okay, can you please share, use my picture, give me credits, or leave me 4 words, you know? And then if someone responds to you, please make sure you always write back. Also use 4 words, you know? Don't say just thank you. Say, thank you, I really appreciate this, or, you know, whatever, but make sure you use more than 4 words, and make sure you answer everyone, you know, because it is, you know, it is like talking to a friend. We want to talk back to our friend. And it's not nice if someone says something nice and then they don't hear from you, you know.
I think that's also a very important point, Claudia. So what would you say is the ratio between, of course, creating content and posting and being on the platforms, the ratio between those, my posting, and between the actual social media work, like the networking, the commenting, the messaging?
Well, it's 2 different, it's 2 different things, you know. So you have to plan your daily or your weekly or your 3 times a week post, and then you have to think about who you're gonna network with, or who you want. Like, it makes sense if you, for example, have a dream customer and they are on Instagram, you could go and comment on their stuff. So they, you know, so there's so much strategy behind it. You know, you comment to your friend because you support them, but you also talk to your dream customer. You also talk to people who inspire you and you can learn from. So it takes an equal amount of time maybe to really go through everything, because you have to actually really spend time on the platform to look around and follow certain things, see their latest posts, and decide what you, because you want to say something smart too, you know.
Yeah, at least an equal amount of time, because social media is not about creating content and posting and then let it fly out into the Facebook world, but it's so much about interaction and community, right? And that's what a lot of people underestimate, from my experience. Myself too, like I'm in it as well. It just takes time to build the connections, and sometimes I think it's even more important to look out for others and be social and comment than work on your next own posts and content things, right?
I think the concept of giving, that this is actually the concept for social media, is not something that people had thought about, you know, like it's not the first thing that comes to mind, you know. And maybe influencers operate differently, but for a business owner, this is definitely something very important, you know, that you should give, you know. and that you're consistent and that you have a plan how you're consistent. So these are all things that we completely underestimate before we get started on that, you know.
Right, everybody does.
It's very time consuming, very time consuming.
It is amazing. Amazing tips. Thank you, Claudia. So which platforms you are on? Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, right?
Exactly.
Like
These are my three
yeah,
platforms. I am on Clubhouse, but I haven't had the courage to own a room yet.
me too. I'm just you know, listening and popping in and out of rooms. There's
Yeah.
so much stuff there.
I still
Yeah.
have to decide if I like it or not. You know, not everything is for me. And so I am on TikTok. I have a TikTok account just
Me
so I can
too.
follow my children. I don't post anything. And I really like the video, you know, Reels are having that great, those great functions, how you can cut the videos together. But TikTok is just so much better because they have the green screen and so you can actually make the video there and then transfer that into a different platform, even so that's not very appreciated from the platform.
Yeah.
But it's a possibility, and I love how creative you can be with these
Yeah.
amazing apps, you know.
I love to watch them. I just, yeah, I'm not there yet, or I'm not sure I'm going there. So is it more TikTok or more Snapchat with the young crowd?
Well, maybe that's an age group thing. I would say for what I hear, it is TikTok for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there are people out there, they are so creative, you know, and they're so funny. And I honestly think for them it's a full-time job because every day they have a new video out and it's such great content and it's acted out and everything is perfect. And I mean, they sit every day and they must really work hard to get it all done. But these people, they make a lot of money, you know. Some of them are like 15, 20. They have, I don't know how many followers and make so much more than any vice president in a bank or anywhere,
Yeah.
you know. they're like, huh, what's a little money for working all year? Are you crazy? So, yeah. But there's great content. I mean, I love how creative the generation has become, and how they are not scared to make fun of themselves and how they are training themselves to put themselves out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for example, when I talk to my clients, a new client, the first thing I hear always is, I need to lose some weight. I need a little bit of a tan. I am so not photogenic. I don't like getting my picture taken. This is still what people think of themselves, you know, and they are very out of their comfort zone for our photo shoot. And that's why we take time and we have the perfect preparation and makeup. But for this next generation, this is nothing, you know?
Small. Yeah.
They're like, where do you want me?
Yeah.
Like, sing, dance, perform.
There's so much to learn from them. Wow.
Absolutely. And I love how they're so encouraged to show themselves, you know.
Amazing. Cool. So Claudia, what are your projects 2021? What are you looking forward to?
What I created because of COVID, and you had mentioned it at the very beginning, and I have gotten such nice response for it. So I realized that I have a lot of business owners that are not really have not the ability to work quite yet because their business is, you know, not working, or right now or they are not allowed to work. And so what I created is those little branding specials. It's always an hour, and because of COVID, so there's also good things. We get like hotels, 5-star hotels, where we get to, you know, walk around all day and do our photo shoots. Great locations that are otherwise never available because they're busy. And so what we do is we do those little branding specials where you know, bring yourself, your favorite nice outfits or your props or your product, whatever it is. There's so many different ways people do it. We have 1 hour, we bring in a makeup artist if we're allowed to, and we create for an hour, and you come with 10 to 20 pictures. Mm-hmm. And there's something new to work with, and they're only like 250 euros. So it's really not a big investment. And I'm constantly looking. So if someone has a great location they want to offer, you know, we do it for exchange on social media or exchange for pictures. And so there are so many great locations we haven't tried yet. Lots of people are interested in co-working spaces right now to get their pictures taken there. And so I love it. It's so creative, and you always have a different setting in the backdrop. We went to the Kempinski Hotel. They were so generous. They gave us the card to go anywhere in the hotel, from the suite to the
Wow.
spa, you know, and we could take pictures wherever we wanted. And now I'm in a beautiful hair salon that is like that old building with glass ceilings and French doors and very airy and light, and velvet couches. And so I try to always find a really cool, interesting new backdrop that creates a scroll stopping portfolio for you, you know.
So, wow, that's really creative. So this is the right time to do a branding shoot like this right now, right? The next couple of weeks.
I always tell people, sharpen your tools,
Mm-hmm.
because once once all this is over, and it will be over soon, you will be able to have, like your tools you're ready to go. Your website is updated, your social media is going really well. You educated yourself. How do I post? Why do I post? What do I post? You have great pictures of yourself, and you're ready to go, because then most likely business is going to start rolling in again, and you're not going to have so much time to do that. So this
Yeah,
is
and you're not going to have the chance to be in one of those locations, right?
absolutely. I always think, like, when I look at the Kempinski, I'm like, one day I'm going to walk through it. I'm like, I can't believe I had that for myself. You know, we have museums to ourselves. Twice we got a museum all to ourselves. You know, it's amazing, you know?
Wow. Amazing. Wow,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
So
So
there's
you're
always
really busy right
opportunity in hardship, right?
now. Mm-hmm.
I
So you're
like that.
super busy over the next weeks, probably.
Very busy, yeah, but good busy, you know. I really like it. I enjoy it.
Super. Wow. Thank you so much, Claudia.
Thank you for having me.
Like with every magnetic talk, at the end there is a giveaway for the community, and please tell us what you have for us.
So I have put together a little PDF with 4 really great steps for getting your LinkedIn profile in shape, if you have one. And today I sent you something about branding. So if you are not on LinkedIn, but you still want to know, like, why should I do a branding photo shoot? What are the benefits? What can I use it for? So if there's a second PDF that I sent that will help you check off the list and say, okay, I need it for this. It will inspire you, and it will give you an idea what you want to create, how you want to create it, how it should look like at the end, and if you actually need it.
Wow. Thank you so much, Claudia. This is
You're
amazing.
welcome.
We will post those goodies for you guys. I hope they're useful to you. I'm sure they are. They're useful to me. I had a glimpse. I looked at it already. Thank you, Claudia.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
With us. At the end, what are you going to say? I'm going to say it's work, of course. There's things to do. You need strategy. You need professional photographs. You need a strategy. You need consistency, but it's also fun. What would you say?
Put yourself in the spotlight, because why wouldn't you? You know, it's your business. It's your everything. So don't be shy. You know.
That's it. Show and don't tell.
Exactly. Claim the spotlight.
Claim the spotlight. Great. Thank you, Claudia, for being with us. Although you have such a busy season and you're hopping from one amazing photograph location to the next. Thanks for being here with us today. And I talk to you very soon.
My pleasure. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.